Hey, this is David for Big Bits. In this video, I kind of want to give you an update on a few things. Now, first of all, there is a release available that you can download and use to install the Trade Alert Responder. Now, this is the very first release. This is what's known as a pre-release. This is something basically just out there for testing, so there are no implied or expressed warranties like you would see on some other disclaimers. But yeah, this is just to test with and to let you play around with it. Now, you're going to have what you saw in the previous video, and I'll actually show you how to do that in just a moment, how to actually set it up and actually kind of use it a little bit. And I can't tell you right now on the video how to actually set up the Twitter and Discord bots. There's documentation on that on their particular website, so you can figure that out there, but I'll show you how to do some of that here. But I do have some other updates on the Trade Alert Responder that I do want to show you. But if you wanted to see the actual release itself, you can go here. This is the GitHub page. There should be a link to my GitHub or the organizational GitHub for BigBits.io in the description of the video, so go there and check that out. Once you click on the Trade Alert Responder project, there should be a tab up here called Release. You can click there, and you'll see that this is a pre-release. This is the very first release, and this is pre-alpha for testing purposes only. So if you just wanted to get in and look at it, you can, and I'll show you what's going on there in just a moment. But on the assets, what you're going to have to do is you are going to have to use the MSI to install it, or if you download the setup.exe and the setup.msi, you can run the setup.exe, but all it's going to do is just run the MSI file for you. So you might as well, if you're going to download something, just download the MSI and run it directly. It might save you a little bit of time. Now let me take you back into the application here. There are several updates on this, but I'll go ahead and load it up and show you what we got. You'll notice a splash screen. That's the video intro to the channel. So it's got a splash screen to the application now. This is just a new form that I'm working on. It's far from complete, but what I'm working on is I'm taking what we had already and I'm converting it into a more modular design so that we can have components and controls on the screen based on what plugins we're using. So I'm actually using a plugin right now. I've actually got the plugin system for scanning for alerts working, and I've loaded in a plugin called the TradingView Alert Log Scanning, which, as I mentioned in the last video, trades the alert log. Now what I'm going to try to do is I want to have some more controls up above this and have this particular control in a tab, so you can choose which particular plugin you want to use, and you can open up a new tab for that, and it'll open up its own browser and its own scanner, and all this information and all of the alerts, of course, would roll back up into the main part of the application. So it's actually coming along pretty well to actually be this far along right now. But the plugin system is working and it's actually pretty cool. I haven't tested it with an external DLL yet, but I'm not really too worried about that. I'm mainly worried about making it modular right now so we can plug and play with different plugins, as you would say. So it's coming along really great with what we have. I've converted a lot of what's in here. Now there is still some work to get this particular form working, and I definitely want to fill in this gap, but you got to get an idea of what's actually starting to happen. Now let me change back a little bit of code so that we can actually go to the original main form, and I can show you what to do once you've installed the application. Now once you install it, it will place a shortcut on your desktop, and it should also place a shortcut in your programs menu. So you can find the shortcut on your desktop, and this happens every once in a while when I'm loading this. Just a moment, I'll probably have to just restart it. But you will have a shortcut on your desktop. You can double click that to open the application. And here we go. So this is what you're going to see when you install the application and open it up. This is the original design. I like how light and friendly it is, but it was kind of hard to replicate on the other screen for whatever reason. So we have the scanning system here. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to configure your alert settings. If you want a notification, if you want a tweet, this other information. Now pay close attention to your bot name. For now, just leave it as my bot, because when you're configuring your alerts in TradingView, it will use this as the root element. And let me go ahead and show you what I mean by that. Let me pull up my alerts. Okay, so you can see down here, when we create our elements in our alert, it has to be wrapped in this. So my bot. So if you change that to say big bits, this first element, instead of saying my bot, would have to say big, it would have to say big bits. So that's something very important to remember. For now, please just leave it as my bot. It'll be easier to remember, I think. It doesn't let you open those here, but you kind of get an idea. So once you configure your alerts, you're going to want to place all this information in here, and you can use the built-in variables in the TradingView alerts to do that if you want to try it. Now, what I have done on the scanning screen, there's a button you can hit for alert info, and it'll tell you all of them. Now, it also tells you that all the alert properties must be within the alert element above. So this is kind of like HTML if you're somewhat familiar with web-based code, and then it's similar to XML as well. But once you place this into your alert, it should be able to read the contents of MyBot when it scans. Now, to do this, you just have to have an alert on, and you must have the alerts log pulled up. So you'll have to log into TradingView. You'll have to open the alerts log. It has to be visible like this for it to actually be able to scan this. Once you hit scan, it'll give you the option to stop scanning. You'll see that it's scanning because there's a little spinner down here showing you that it's scanning. And when you enable your alerts, and I will do that now. And hold on, give me just a moment. There's one thing I wanted to do. I actually want to hide my head because you'll actually see the notification come through. Let me enable. Okay, I am scanning, so let me enable this, and we should see a notification, and worst case scenario, we'll see it in the alerts tab. So let's go ahead and do that. Did I click it? No. There we go. There we go. That alert fired. It's here, and we got the notification. Cool. So you can see it's actually working, it's actually scanning, and if you do get to actually do this, please give me your feedback. If you run into any issues, that'd be great, so that I can actually go back and check to see if there's any actual bugs. Now, for those of you who are interested in the code, of course it is available on GitHub if you want to poke around and see if you can find any ways to help or find any bugs. That's appreciated as well. But that is pretty much it, I believe, for the trade alert responder. I've mostly been working on the new form design with the plugin based information, or the plugin based modular system, and that's been going really well. I'm kind of surprised at how well it's going, and hopefully that will continue to go well, and I think it will. So yeah, if you have any comments or questions, please leave a comment on the video here on YouTube. Otherwise, I wanted to give you a couple of updates on some indicators here, because I did do a couple of changes. And the fancy Bollinger Bands, which we actually updated yesterday, I actually realized that it broke the indicators forecasting when we switched to using the built-in resolution input. So please, if you try to do this with your own, you might need to switch back if you're also doing forecasting on your own indicators. And I had to make sure that we were using this instead of actually just plugging in the resolution into the security function. Now, it worked fine for calculating the middle band, but when I replaced it where the other locations were, it broke it. So the easiest solution was just to change everything back instead of trying to troubleshoot it, because it didn't really throw an error message. It just didn't print. So yeah, I was a little confused about that, and I'm sure the answer is in there, but like I said yesterday in the video, there is a justified reason to keep this particular system as opposed to the built-in option, and that is because with this system, you can actually have custom values. You don't have to use the ones that are default on the drop down up here. Now I've added custom ones myself, but if we wanted to, we could add a 2-minute resolution here, or even second base resolution for those of you who have the paid plans. And there was another one here. It was the fancy moving average that I also updated. Now this was the original one, but I fixed the fancy moving average so that it would, when you're using higher or just any different resolution, the inclusion trail wouldn't matter. It would just show a solid line all the way back. There is no such thing as using the occlusions on custom resolutions. So let me go ahead and show you. We're on a daily chart, so let's set this to a weekly. Okay, so you might think this would go back 50 weeks, but really it goes back as far as it can. But that's about it for this particular one. Of course, the forecasting doesn't work there. I'm trying to think there's anything else I can go over here, but I think that's about it. Hopefully, you all are interested in the Trade Alert Responder application that I'm working on. It's been a lot of work that I've put into it, and the code is coming along really nicely. So yeah, just thanks again for watching and keeping up to date with what's going on. And of course, now it is in your hands. You can actually play around with it some if you want. Now, if you do have any questions on setting up Twitter or Discord, like I mentioned, please search how to do that on their particular sites or just using Google. There's plenty of documentation on getting the information that you need. Now, what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to search how to get the particular information that I ask for in the settings pages for those particular social media endpoints. So just keep that in mind, and you'll also probably want to configure the custom image. And I did forget that. I did update the custom watermark image. You can actually upload your own custom watermark now. I knew there was something that I had forgotten. So let's let this pull up, go into the settings. So in your alerts, no, this is not here. On Twitter or Discord settings, you should see include screenshots in alerts. If you have this enabled, it will take a screenshot of the URL that it's currently on. Now, when you go to the screenshot settings, you'll notice I've added a watermark image. Well, I haven't added it. I've enabled this, and I've added these other controls. So essentially, it will allow you to select a file on your computer and place it in here, and you can use that as your particular watermark. Now, by default, this isn't the actual watermark. This is what you're going to get if you try and use the watermark by default. I believe watermark is disabled by default, so you don't have to worry about it showing up. But I do recommend you go back here and change this if you want one on there. And I purposely made it like this so that if you posted this somewhere, it would be pretty clear you need to go through and you need to actually change this. And I might change it again in the future. I just thought it was kind of fun. But that actually is it now. So I'm going to be pushing these code changes to the GitHub repository very soon. So for those of you who are actually following along with that, you'll be able to get that. But other than that, if you like the video, please leave a like. And if you have been following along with the indicators or the Trade Alert Responder project, which is fairly new, please subscribe, because I do plenty of videos on this, and I'll have plenty more coming out, and hopefully we'll be able to keep track of some really great progress on both fronts. But other than that, thank you and have a great day.